Captain Marcus Williams stared at the holographic display, his jaw clenched tight enough to crack teeth. The data stream from the captured Korthax vessel told a story that made his blood boil. For 3 generations, humanity had believed they were partners in the Galactic Consortium. They were wrong. "Sir, you need to see this," Lieutenant Rebecca Foster said, her voice trembling as she forwarded another decrypted file to his terminal. The truth unraveled like a nightmare. The colony programs that had taken millions of humans to distant worlds weren't colonization at all. They were distribution centers. The agricultural partnerships were slave plantations. The cultural exchange students were being sold as domestic servants to the highest bidders across 40 star systems. Marcus had grown up hearing stories about his sister, Emily, who had volunteered for the Andromeda Colony Initiative 20 years ago. She'd sent one message saying she'd arrived safely, then nothing. The consortium said communications were difficult across such distances. Another lie. How many? Marcus asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted the answer. Conservative estimate. 12 million humans in bondage across the Korthax Empire alone, Foster replied. And they're just one of 7 species running these operations. The discovery had been accidental. Dr. James Mitchell, a xenobiologist stationed on Europa, had been treating a wounded Korthax defector. Delirious with fever, the alien had babbled about the human livestock and the premium prices they commanded. Mitchell had recorded everything, then brought it to naval intelligence. 3 months of covert investigation later, humanity knew the terrible truth. Marcus pulled up the tactical display of Korthax space. Their military was vast, their technology superior in many ways. They'd been spacefaring for 3,000 years while humanity had barely made it past Mars when first contact occurred. The Korthax had seemed so friendly, so eager to help humanity reach the stars. All of it had been a recruitment drive for their slave markets. "Assemble the fleet," Marcus ordered. "Every ship, every crew. I want them ready within 48 hours. "Sir, the consortium will consider this an act of war," Foster warned. "They made it a war the day they put chains on the first human," Marcus replied coldly. Admiral Patricia Hawkins addressed the combined fleets from the bridge of the USS Defiance. 2,000 warships hung in space around Earth, from massive carriers to quick-strike frigates. Every vessel was crewed by men and women who had just learned that their neighbors, their friends, their family members might be slaves on some distant world. "We didn't ask for this fight," Hawkins said, her image broadcast to every ship. "But we're going to finish it. The galaxy thinks we're weak because we're young. They think we're easy prey because we're trusting. They're about to learn what happens when you back a human into a corner." The strategy was simple and brutal. Humanity didn't have the technology to match the slavers, but they had something else, the sheer stubborn refusal to quit that had driven their ancestors to conquer their own world. Captain Donnelly's strike group hit the first slaver depot at Kepler 442b. The station was massive, housing 30,000 humans in horrific conditions. The Korthax defenders expected a cautious approach, careful negotiations, maybe a blockade. They got a full broadside from every rail gun humanity could bring to bear. No negotiations, Donnelly's orders had been clear. No prisoners until every human is free. The battle lasted 8 minutes. The station fell in 12. News of the attack spread across the galaxy at light speed. The consortium sent ambassadors demanding explanations, threatening sanctions, calling for restraint. Admiral Hawkins sent back a single message: "Return our people, or we're coming for them." The Korthax Empire, confident in their military superiority, refused. That was their fatal mistake. What the slavers hadn't understood was that humanity had been preparing for the wrong war. For 70 years, humanity had built their fleets expecting to fight other humans, enemies who valued their own lives, who had families waiting at home, who would retreat when the cost grew too high. The slavers were about to face an enemy who didn't care about the cost. Lieutenant Jackson Martinez led his Marine assault team through the corridors of a Korthax breeding facility on Tau Ceti 4. Breeding facility was their clinical term for it. Martinez called it what it was, a nightmare. Contact front, someone shouted. Martinez didn't hesitate. The Korthax guards were better armed, better armored. But they'd never faced an enemy fighting for their family. His sister Julie had been in the colony program. She'd been 15. The firefight was savage and short. Over 6 months, humanity carved a bloody path through slaver space. They lost ships, hundreds of them. They lost people, tens of thousands. But for every human killed in battle, they freed 1,000 from bondage. The galaxy watched in horror as this young species, barely a century spacefaring, dismantled slaver networks that had operated for millennia. The Korthax Empire, which had seemed invincible, crumbled as humanity's fleets arrived at each world with the same message: free them all, or burn. Captain Williams stood on the bridge of his ship above New Sacramento, once a Korthax labor world. The planet was free now, its occupiers either dead or fled. Shuttles were already ferrying freed humans back to the fleet. Among them, he hoped, might be Emily. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth," Foster reported. "The consortium is requesting a ceasefire. They're offering to negotiate the release of all remaining human captives." Marcus looked at the planet below, thinking of all the empty chairs at dinner tables across Earth, all the families torn apart by lies and greed. "Tell them we'll negotiate after every single human is home," he said. "And tell them the price for peace is simple: the complete and total abolition of slavery in all consortium space, enforced by humanity. We'll station fleets at every world if we have to." "They'll never agree to that, sir." Marcus smiled grimly. "Then I guess we keep fighting." The galaxy had made the mistake of thinking humanity was just another species to exploit. They'd learned too late that humans had a word for people who stole their family: enemy. And humanity had never been very good at leaving enemies standing.